Oy, another day, another Democrat tantrum for attention and illegal aliens, but mostly for attention. The show starts in just a minute, but first, a word from our wonderful, my favorite sponsor. The red light face mask from Bond Charge is your go-to solution for radiant, youthful-looking skin. I wear mine every single night, folks. 10 minutes a night is all it takes. I am now addicted. It's designed to help reduce the appearance of fine lines and wrinkles, promote a more even skin tone. It's the perfect way to boost your confidence with a radiant, glowing complexion. Like I said, 10 minutes a day. It's cordless, it's effortless, it fits seamlessly into your routine, and your dogs might be slightly scared by it, but listen, it's all for the greater good. But you can do the red light mask even when you're going about your day. Like I said, it's cordless. Go to bondcharge.com, use my coupon code TOMMY. You'll save 15%. I promise you guys you'll never go back. Also, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the show on YouTube at Tomi Lahren is Fearless. Without further ado, the show does start right now.
Judicial warrant. Do you have a judicial warrant? Do you have a judicial warrant? Can I see the judicial warrant? Can I see the warrant? I will let go when you show me the judicial warrant. Where is it? Where is the warrant?
I have it in my hand here. You're obstructing. You're obstructing.
I would like to let go. To see the warrant.
No! Take it back. Take it back. Take it back. Step back.
You don't have authority to arrest U.S. citizens.
Sir.
You don't have the authority to arrest U.S. citizens. You don't have the, I'm not obstructing. I'm standing right here in the hallway. I asked to see the judicial warrant. By asking for a judicial warrant? You don't have the authority to arrest U.S. citizens asking for a judicial.
Here we go again. Another far-left Democrat pick-me puts on a show in the name of illegal immigration, but really it's for attention and clout. This week, as you saw, it was New York City Comptroller and mayoral candidate Brad Lander. You for damn sure never heard of him, which was the point of his outburst. He was arrested for obstruction of ICE operations at a federal immigration court in New York City. He demanded to see a judicial warrant for an illegal being arrested by ICE agents. Even as he was being hauled away, he kept his hand on the detainee's shoulder. How cutesy. But we all know this isn't even really about the illegal or the court or the ICE operation. This was about what it's always about for Democrats, at least since January 20th, and that is attention and name recognition. This weirdo is a nobody, but he knows all he had to do to get some camera time and for everyone to know his name was to act like that. It's the new thing, the new trend for loser Democrats. Truth is, they all want to be influencers, and right now it's in vogue to do it at the expense of ICE operations and federal immigration law. Y'all noticing this pattern? Last week it was man-child California Senator Alex Padilla who bum-rushed our female DHS secretary for his moment. And he was no doubt miffed that Iran and Israel took his spotlight away after just one day or so of attention last week. So he's really trying to revive it this week by acting like a little biatch.
You've seen the video. I was pushed and pulled, struggled to maintain my balance. I was forced to the ground. First on my knees, and then flat on my chest. And as I was handcuffed and marched down a hallway, repeatedly asking, why am I being detained? Not once did they tell me why.
He literally cried. Good luck winning over masculine men, Democrats, my God. But before him, it was, of course, LaMonica. Remember this? Miss LaMonica going ham outside of a Newark ICE detention facility. She was also arrested for that one, and she currently faces charges. Padilla wasn't quite so bold. Shucks for him. But let's not forget, it was Maryland Senator Van Hollen who walked so LaMonica, Padilla, and now Lander could run. Look at him, margaritas. Look, all these Democrat weirdos surely do shill for illegals, but that's not the primary reason they're doing all this. They're primarily doing this so you'll know their names, you'll talk about and maybe even donate to them so they can stand up for people who have no right to be here, of course, at your expense. They also desperately want to be like Donald Trump, which is why Gavin Newsom is basically begging to be arrested.
I mean, it's, again, sober and serious moment. Meanwhile, can I just add, and this is why I told the president, just get it over with. Arrest me. Move on. If you need some head to scalp, do it with me, but stop messing with these kids.
He would absolutely cry himself to sleep, by the way, if his head were scalped. His hair is all he has. So this is a story of coddling illegals, aiding and abetting in their crimes, but it's also a classic case of pick me. Oh, so pathetic. Joining me now to weigh in on it all and so much more is GOPAC Chairman David Avella. David, I really do think this is for attention. Like, this is the way Democrats get attention now. They have to get arrested. They act out to get arrested, and then they stand there and they cry about it for a week. If they're trying to win back men, I'm not so sure crying for the world to see is the way to go about it. But in their eyes, I don't think they care. They just want the camera time. Do you think, though, this is going to help them win elections?
There's no question, Tommy. It's for attention, but let's also add that follows their pattern that they're going to pick and choose what laws they think should be enforced. They started with prosecuting attorneys who were going to pick and choose which laws they were going to enforce. George Soros spent millions to get prosecuting attorneys across the country elected who would not enforce immigration law. You now have cities across the country that are telling their police officers not to work with ICE agents. It's just pattern after pattern with the Democratic Party to not want to enforce immigration laws. And you see in the numbers, talking about trying to get elected, you see in the numbers, Americans continue to move more towards the Republican position when it comes to immigration, including, think about this now, 40-point move towards Republicans amongst those who came here legally as immigrants and went through the system as they were supposed to. This is a winning issue for Republicans. And until Democrats decide that there is a value for them in actually enforcing laws, you're going to continue to see them doing this stuff, which is only going to move more people towards Republicans.
They're just clinging on to this. They learned absolutely nothing from their shellacking November 2024. There was a brief period of time around the holidays where Democrats had to come to Jesus or come to Mother Earth moment. I don't know what they worship. Where they were like, listen, we messed up on the border. Like, we probably should have done better there. And it didn't take long for them to completely forget, I guess, what was a bogus sentiment, because now they're just back to everyone must stay. And they try to tell us they want the criminal ones out, but that's not even the case, because we saw the Kilmar Abrego Garcia thing. Like, they even want the murderers, the rapists, the traffickers, the abusers. They want them to stay for as long as possible as well. But now I really do think that they've made this calculation in their minds, especially the ones that we're not really talking much about, like the Padillas, right? This comptroller in New York City, LaMonica, like nobody was talking about these people until they pulled these stunts. So I don't think they quite frankly care about being arrested. I think they're now angling to be arrested because I think that they just want the attention. And Padilla, I mean, he's still doing it. Unfortunately, because of my X algorithm, I keep seeing tweets from him and he keeps talking about himself. Look what happened to me last week, guys. Look what happened. And I really do think that this is just their way to get attention. And I think that that's really, at least this week, what it's about. It's the attention.
And speaking to a very small sliver of the Democratic Party. Look, a plurality of Democrats support knowing who's coming into this country and having a secure border. So you're looking at, as these elected officials do their stunts and their attention seeking, they're really talking to even a small sliver within their own party. But if you're trying to get attention, to your point, you're trying to raise money, you're going to do things that's going to make those Democratic activists want to give you money or go out there and be supportive, and it's Tommy, you continue to see the Democratic Party doubling down on all the bad issues that got them defeated in the last election. And their control, people often say, who's the leader of the Democratic Party right now? It's the ideas of Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren that are guiding the Democratic Party. And it is their acolytes who are the ones getting the most attention around that. And it's not going to serve them well as we get ready for the midterm elections. But don't let me be one to try to give them advice to change what they're doing. I say they should keep doing it.
At least before the election, when they kept saying like Trump abortion bans, and Project 2025, it was nonsense. But at least those things pertain to Americans. Regardless of how you feel about abortion, that was an effective line of communication. The Trump abortion ban, that was a sentiment that, you had some people go, oh, I'm afraid of that. And I believe that that's also why they did so well in the 2022 midterms, because they at least found an issue, whether we agree with it or not, that impacted Americans. And it impacted a lot of folks who maybe were on the other side of maybe being more on the pro-choice side, that were conservative in other ways, but they cared about that. So that strategically for them was smart. This is moronic. And speaking of, go ahead.
No, you're right. And now you even have, if you've seen reports where FBI is turning over to Congress to start looking at, did foreign governments pay to make fake IDs to give to those here in the country so that they could vote in the elections when they weren't even U.S. citizens?
Yeah. Well, it wasn't too long ago, by the way, that you couldn't even say anything like that without getting in big trouble, being banned. And thank goodness the FBI is looking into it now. It's like all the conspiracy theories that we had from 2020 to 2025, they were all really just spoiler alerts, in my opinion. A lot of them, we'll learn more. Hopefully, this FBI is going to give us more information. But speaking of, folks that are completely out of step, there's a few of them that are just so bad. And they continue to be the darlings of the Democrat Party. But, they do it shamelessly. Ilhan Omar, I don't know who she thinks she represents. It for damn sure ain't Americans, though. Take a listen to how she feels about the country that took her in.
And I grew up in a dictatorship. And I don't even remember ever witnessing anything like that. To have a democracy, a beacon of hope for the world to now be turned into one of the worst countries where the military are in our streets without any regard for people's constitutional rights.
David, I just have this lingering question. Why the hell is she still here? She hates us. She hates this country. She hates our values. She seemingly hates everything that this country represents. And now she's telling us it's one of the worst countries. Why is she still here? She's not a tree. She can leave.
All good points. I suppose if you want to be positive about it, at least she said we were one of the worst. She didn't say we were the worst, though not much consolation, I suppose, in that. And, look, the proof is in the pudding. This is a member of Congress who has no significant piece of legislation that she's ever sponsored or passed. She can't get members of even her own party to rally around the ideas that she's out there talking about to try to drum up support. Unfortunately, for those many in her district, the congressional district is drawn in a way that any Democrat is going to win. And so hopefully, a reasonable Democrat who loves America will take her on in a primary and defeat her because you're spot on. I mean, to think that a member of Congress goes on public communications and even in the halls of Congress saying that we're one of the worst countries, it's appalling.
The things that woman has said, if you just line them all up, it's so bad. And I mean, she just hates this country. The 9/11, some people did something. I'm paraphrasing, was in essence what she said. She's named white men as our biggest threat. I just can't think of a Republican that goes out and talks about the American people, even on the other side of the aisle, that way. Like, she really just hates this country. She should leave. And there's another one. Go ahead.
No, and why it should become, as we get ready for 26 elections, every Democrat should have to answer for this. Are they in line with the what she is talking about? Do they think we're one of the worst countries because we're needing to use the military to help backstop ICE as they're working to enforce the laws of America, as we are trying to get local law enforcement working with ICE? Do they support the very things that she's saying? Democrats should be held accountable for this.
Yeah, well, we know that's never going to happen. They're not even held accountable for, Joe Biden in the auto pen. I mean, they're trying today, but let's just be honest. We're never going to get to, there's never going to be consequences for that. Just like there's never going to be consequences for COVID or the Hunter laptop or the Biden family business dealings. We ought to just move on because we know we're never going to get an apology or an acknowledgement for any of those things. We hope so, but I'm not going to hold my breath. Here's another one that I think, quite frankly, is so out of step with the American people and also probably hates the American people. But now she's once again, these Democrats are so stupid. She's trying to resurrect right now when we're, in the middle of everything in this country, right? She's trying to resurrect the reparations thing. Here's, Ilhan Omar's buddy, Tlaib, advocating for reparations because, that's what most Americans care about. Let's take a listen.
Detroiters understand the reparations are not just the past, and this is important. They are about addressing the present day impacts of institutional racism, Mr. Speaker. They're about acknowledging that labor, land, and lives stolen in the beginning to repair what's been broken. That's what it's about. We must give our black neighbors the reparations that they were promised. This Juneteenth, I ask you all in this chamber in honoring black neighbors by fighting for what's long overdue: reparations, black maternal health equity, investments in HBCUs, and real protections for voting rights.
I think it was actually Donald Trump during his first term that, made sure that the HBCUs were taken care of. So interesting that she made that point there. But this whole reparations thing, every time I see an idiot leftist post about reparations, I kindly and gently remind them, the illegals took all your reparations. I'm sorry, there ain't nothing left. Like the bottom of the barrel has been scraped because you want the illegal aliens to get their 4-star hotels. So I'm sorry, your reparations money is gone. But can you imagine sitting there and being like, I know what's going to get broad support, reparations based on race?
Even a state like California, who has talked about it for quite some time, when push came to shove and they started talking about putting a budget together, what did they not include? This great bill that they had for reparations in the state of California, because they're like, it'll bankrupt the state. There's just partly the practical. As a country, we're $36 trillion in the debt. Where we believe these funds, or where they believe these funds are coming from, they certainly have not shown the path to that. And even in Democratic-led states who have thought about it, they're like, yeah, we can't do this. But they still talk about it, and it only further helps peel voters off from them. And as they look for other candidates, Republicans have been the beneficiaries.
Yeah, I don't know what they do and what they spend their time doing when they're in Congress, because it's just coming up with stupid crap like that and then trying to sell it as some kind of, innovative policy position that's going to impact the lives of Americans. And it's not. It's never going to get anywhere. It's just performance at the end of the day. It's all talk, no action, performative. But here's another thing I wanted to get your take on. We know there was a horrible tragedy last weekend in Minnesota. And I've come out and said, listen, I don't care who this guy supported. It's just so disgusting and disturbing that this would happen. And this has apparently been something that he had been planning. He had other people on the list that he wanted to execute. It's disgusting. And I don't care who he supports. It's gross. And I want to know everything about him, by the way. But I thought it was interesting when our president was asked why he didn't call Governor Tampon. And this was his response.
On Minnesota, there were a lot of horrific details that came out today about the suspect who's been charged there. Have you called the governor yet or been able to speak to any of them?
I don't really call him. He appointed this guy to a position. I think the governor of Minnesota is so whacked out. I'm not calling him. Why would I call him? I could call him and say, hi, how you doing? The guy doesn't have a clue. He's a mess. So, I could be nice and call him, but why waste time?
Why waste time? I mean, listen. The man is trying to dealing with Iran and Israel, among many other things, trying to rid our country of the illegal aliens. I don't think he has time or quite the care to call Tampon Tim, but Tampon Tim was very offended by it. What's your take?
Well, add to that the trade deals that the president's working on, whether it be the UK deal that was talked about this week, whether it's right there in Governor Tampon's backyard in Canada. We're trying to get a trade deal there with Canada. I mean, go around the country or go around the world. The president is working for what Americans wanted, which was a focus on the economic messages. And all that to say, the president is doing the most important thing, and that is having the FBI there to help with the investigation, help bring the federal charges that are applicable to make sure this guy doesn't see the outside of a prison again the rest of his life for what he did.
Exactly. Well, let's talk about the other big news of the week. And I got to tell you, I'm a little conflicted myself on where I stand on it. And that's the whole, obviously, what's going down in the Middle East right now. So I want to give you my take, and then you give me yours. It's really splitting Republicans, and I think it's healthy that it is, right? So we know that Israel's been able to do a number on Iran, which I think is great. Like, let them do whatever they have to do. They cannot probably get all the way with dismantling the nuclear capabilities if they're not given access to the bunker buster bomb that only the United States has. So we give them that, or we use that, and we might be pulled into some kind of another conflict. Nobody wants to see another endless war in the Middle East. But I'm wondering, and I'm not a foreign policy expert by any stretch of the imagination, but I'm wondering, is it possible to use that bomb to dismantle the nuclear program, to set them back, 10 or 20 years, and then that be it and not do anything else? I mean, I think that Iran is at a point now that they're so feeble that a war might not even be possible for them, because I think all their people are pretty much dead in leadership. So I don't want boots on the ground. I don't want to be in a Middle East war. But listen, if we're at the precipice of knocking Iran off and just getting rid of their program, and we have the opportunity to do it, I'm kind of like, do we do it? I don't know. What's your take?
It's the great question the president has to answer as to how involved. I think there would be universal support that we continue to help Israel defend itself, and with the knocking down missiles as they come in and helping supply that. Could Israel do it without us? They can. More riskier operations than just simply dropping a bunker bomb, which is what we could do. Could they send their troops in and dismantle it? Yes. But this is really a two-step process, that not only do you have to militarily take care of and take out the nuclear weapon program, but you have to have a pro-democracy leader take over in Iran so that you bring stability to the region. I mean, there's a reason why many of the neighbors to Iran have not engaged on Iran's side. Look, they have been causing chaos in the Middle East ever since, a quick history lesson here, ever since the 70s when the U.S. was there. You may remember it was during the Carter administration that we had students that became hostages. It was in the 1980s that they bombed a base in Saudi Arabia. I mean, when they say death to America, they mean death to America. And this regime has been given time after time that hey, we want you to be successful. You got to give up your nuclear program. And in time after time, they've told the world, we'll do it. And then they don't. And then you have administrations in the past here in the U.S., President Obama, who gave them millions, billions of dollars to allow them to continue what they were doing. And now the world's confronting it. It's not just the U.S. The U.K. has been involved. European nations are engaged in what's going on at different levels of what they're willing to do. This is stability for the whole world. And even, think about the Houthis, and as they attacked our ships last year, they didn't do that just out of their own inspiration. That came from somewhere. And so we are going to have to, the president has a big decision to make here. Do we continue just supporting Israel and getting them the right tools they need to defend themselves? And you heard the president today. He said he told Netanyahu to keep going, keep doing what you're doing. And that's where our position is right now. And I think you brought up an excellent point, which is Iran seems to be pretty feeble. And despite their blustering and their big comments, they have not been able to replicate that with real actions taking on Israel. Right. And so the president might be right where he needs to be, which is telling Israel to keep going and being there to help defend.
It's so funny to me, and this is just the image that's in my mind. Stick with me on this when I say Iran's feeble. They remind me of like when they put out these threats, like if the U.S. engages, they will be, hell hath no fury like Iran. You will pay, and it's like the Charlie Brown Christmas tree being like, you will pay. It's like, really? All your people are dead, I mean, and listen, and if not for President Trump, your supreme leader may very well be dead. So I don't think you're in a position to be dictating the wrath you're going to lay down at this point. But I'm at the point, too, where I'm like, listen, if Israel is this close, and all they need is a little help from us, and we can drop that bomb and get rid of that Fordo, whatever it is, right, in the mountains.
Yeah.
If we can do that, and we're this close, if you don't do it, is all of this for naught? That's kind of my thing. It's like everything that Israel's done, yes, you're going to set them back, but they're going to rebuild, So I'm wondering, like, do you need to go just that little millimeter more just to finish it?
Perhaps, though, let me also say that it's up to the Iranian people, too, right? As long as they allow this regime to stay in place, this is what we're going to be dealing with. And this is what they're going to be living with. And if these attacks, and they want to get to a more peaceful effort that allows them to build an economy over there that all can prosper, just not those in charge, they have to be engaged in this too. And you are seeing some footage where there are starting to be some protest. And there are those who want a more positive relationship with the West, are starting to voice their opinions now. And so this isn't just one thing. This isn't just a bomb dropping. That could be part of this equation, but there's so much more to this. And it is about, what does Iran look like after the bomb, if it is dropped? What does that look like? And what do we do? And how do other partners get in there and help the Iranian people bring a prosperity to themselves that they're not going to get under this current regime?
Yeah, you never want a power vacuum because then you get like Benghazi, right? Like we've done this before and it's not a good idea unless there is a plan. But we know they're not going to stop. So for me, it's like, listen, if Trump decided to drop the big one, I'd be okay with it. And then I don't know what happens after that. But I feel like if we're this close, maybe nobody wants to see a ground war. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see. The very last thing I want to talk to you about is what I consider a giant victory. I'm so proud of my current state of Tennessee because they had a big Supreme Court ruling this morning. It was such a big deal, and it's going to be a big deal not just for Tennessee, but for, I believe, the 25 other states that want to do this to protect children. They're saying that, listen, Tennessee can ban this irreversible transing of children. And I think that was a huge deal. We know the likely folks dissented because they apparently want child abuse. But I think this is a big deal. I hate that we even call it gender affirming care because that's so stupid. To me, it's medical child abuse. But what's your take on it and how big of a deal is it?
It is for the kids in Tennessee and for those in the other states considering it. It's a big victory, and for all, again, we were talking earlier about Democrats focusing on those issues that have them so out of line with the majority, the supermajority of Americans. And this is just another example of that. And the Supreme Court ultimately ruled, in particular this case, that the state law was in fact legal and constitutional. And it will not be surprising to see those other 25 states quickly follow along. Who knows, maybe in some states they'll even call a special session so that they, if they're not currently in session, so that they can pass it. There will be a big movement to pass similar legislation in other states to do this.
And it should be in every state outside of maybe, I don't know, New York and California. I can't imagine that even liberal states wouldn't want to say, we are not going to irreversibly mar, disfigure, debilitate, to block the puberty and the natural biological growth of children to fill a gender dysphoric delusion. I can't imagine that there are many people out there, even on the left, that think that that is appropriate, that that's responsible. Like, that's medieval, in my opinion. It's like you're going to take a kid that's like, I think I'm a girl. Okay, well, let's, block your puberty so that the rest of your life you're going to be addicted to big pharma and you're going to be questioning what you are and you're going to be disfigured. I can't imagine that there is much support for this anywhere.
Excellent point. And one day we're going to look back at this and think why we were even dealing with this. It seems just so out of the mainstream, but we are, and that's where legislation like this is important, and other states will soon follow.
Yeah, I hope so. Well, congratulations to the volunteer state for taking this to the Supreme Court, and a big victory. So a big victory for all, for children, for families, and a big victory for Tennessee. Thank you so much for all of your wonderful insight. I really appreciate it. Please come back soon.
Absolutely. Look forward to it.
Thank you. Folks, it's been 10 years of Maga, and no way in hell are we ever going back. It's time for final thoughts. Happy 10 years to Maga, the greatest and most formidable political movement in American history since our founding fathers dumped British tea in the harbor and declared our independence from the crown. That was iconic, but so was this.
Our country is in serious trouble. We don't have victories anymore. We used to have victories, but we don't have them. When was the last time anybody saw us beating, let's say, China? When Mexico sends its people, they're not sending their best. They're not sending you. They're not sending you. They're sending people that have lots of problems, and they're bringing those problems with us. They're bringing drugs, they're bringing crime, they're rapists, and some, I assume, are good people. Sadly, the American dream is dead. Bring it back. But if I get elected president, I will bring it back bigger and better and stronger than ever before, and we will make America great again. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Chills. Well, he was right then, and 10 years later, he is still right on the money. And with that, the MAGA, Make America Great Again movement was born, and with that, the brains of Democrats and leftists broke, possibly forever. But remember when they told us he'd never win, when they laughed at the thought of it?
I'm just really happy right now. A billionaire vanity candidate taking the escalator to the White House.
Will people who love him love it? Yeah, but will it get him anywhere close to becoming the nominee or the president of the United States? I think not.
Donald Trump will never be president of the United States.
How do you even have a straight face right now? There are no words.
I can't tell if this is politics or if this is just PR from a celebrity.
Donald J. Trump, two-time presidential victor, two-time assassination survivor, and the greatest leader, certainly, of my lifetime, probably yours, too. And while we celebrate 10 years of MAGA, it's only fitting to point out just the recent successes of this administration. By far the most notable is our southern border. That thing is sealed tighter than Nancy's dentures, a thing of beauty, truly. The border, not Nancy. Our nation went from full-on invasion to full-on sovereignty in a matter of months. And of course, the mass deportation effort is underway. But it's not just immigration where our fearless leader is stacking up the wins. Inflation is cooling. We are taking in billions in tariffs, and trade deals are underway. Trade deals that put America and American workers first. And these wins aren't just limited to the usual, albeit most important areas of economy and national security concerns. The MAHA movement, led by HHS Secretary RFK Jr., is already clocking big wins as well. The consumer sentiment is so strong that companies like Kraft Heinz are stepping up on their own and in big and meaningful ways, transformative ways. Who knew it would take a Republican president in the White House to improve our health and our food? All this to say, congratulations to President Trump and to all of us extreme MAGA Republicans on a decade of wins, of resilience, tenacity, and of course, making liberals cry. Here's to 10 more and 10 more after that, because MAGA is here to stay. Those are my final thoughts. Please be sure to tune in tomorrow live, 1 p.m. Eastern. Catch full episodes on Outkick and Fox Nation. Please also like and subscribe to the YouTube channel at Tomi Lahren is Fearless. From Nashville, God bless and take care. Hey, thanks for watching. If you want more of my hottest takes, must-see conversations, and of course, my final thoughts, click here and make sure you subscribe here so you never miss a beat. I'll be here every weekday, and I hope you'll join me.